some of them are just open fractures with calcite, but others are earlier. A little aragonite, dark aragonite line. Yeah, there's ammonites, there's all sorts of goodies in here. You really see those on cavities cement. You see the marine cement line. It's above your hand here. There. Well, the black one? Yeah, above you. See above you. Above where your hand was. Go up there. Yeah. That's got cement line, that's got a cement line. Yeah. So originally aragonite, now calcite. It's no longer aragonite, it once was. So this rock is capable of supporting cavities. Okay, you have early marine cavity cements in it. Then it has much later cements that are tectonic related cements as well. Yeah, there's marine lines. Some of these boys in there and up here, we're photographing these marine lines. They're all over this area through this unit where you're all standing on. There's cavities. Other units in here don't have cavities. Okay? This unit coming down through here.
The rock time here is nothing.
Sorry?
The rock time.
Is it a mosaic or is it a bed? You tell me. Okay, I mean, here we've got cavities, and it's basically a packstone, waxstone background. The rock is a packstone, waxstone. They're a local rudstone layer.
The what stone?
See when we get
Right.
When you've had a look up there, come down here and look at what I've got my foot on. What is that? Calcite, obviously. Yep. But what is it? Is it cavity-filled calcite from the Permian in a marine cavity, or is it a modern cave deposit? This aligned calcite, the displays of calcite, big, coarse, clear sparry. Now, there's really nice ones down there with smoky on your hand down there. These aligned, big, 5 centimetre long calcite crystals. So, when did that cavity form? Well, yeah, or if it's growing in a water-filled environment, it will grow in all directions. Like isopachity, if you've got below the water table, you can grow crystals in all directions below the water table. Yeah, well, this is probably phreatic calcite. Yeah, I mean, it's around the water table, so you'll have some Bedos effects in there as well. But that's we've sampled that, not here, but off that big sputum over here. Similar, you see similar things, and it's all rainwater derived calcite, modern calcite, like what, 10, 20, 30, 40,000 years old. It's not Permian, and it's not mesogenetic, it's phylogenetic calcite. It's probably rubulated like that. So you can get, quite large calcite crystals. So far we haven't seen them, but big crystals like this can be phylogenetic. Occasional rudstone. And it's not Okay, we'll just control it that way. Some of it here is cavity. Okay? Like the guys are all standing around up there, they're taking pictures of marine cements on cavity lines. Okay, see next to Rosie's shoulder? That's an important unit to look at behind her shoulder, that green looking unit, okay? Okay, yeah, you've already got it. That's the igneous cylinder. And you can follow it up and it obviously joins up with that dike that's coming around the corner up there, okay? So that would connect. This is probably the sill coming off that dike feature. But that sill has created permeability contrast when the groundwater, when the telogenetic waters were flowing through this with uplift, there was a permeability contrast at that igneous sill. That's what forms the roof of that cave over there. That inclined, you know, when we see the rhombic shape, the upper part of the rhomb sloping down like this is where that igneous sill. So yeah, your fractures and you've got the igneous sill, there's contrast and there's fractures like this and there's a fracture set like this and it's dissolving it away, okay, but the sill's acting as the roof to there. Here we don't have a sill on the roof and so we've got a straight vertical fracture from it, okay? So, but the sill's created a different permeability geometry, a slightly different cave shape compared to these which are opening up on the subvertical fractures. So, below the flowstone, what's the texture in here? Breccia?
You mean the yellow one?
Yeah, the yellow one. Well, it's got a terra rosa matrix, but there are big blocks of limestone all the way through that. Look at the big blocks of limestone. So that's got a breccia with a terra rosa matrix. Yeah, it's a breccia. And it's got a terra rosa or a cast soil matrix between the breccia, between the big blocks of soil.
The breccia is the dark color.
Yeah, it's a dark colour, you know, or just the big blocks of rock. They're different colours, some are lighter, some are darker, but they're big blocks of rock. Below that flowstone, okay, that where the tree is, okay, that's flowstone. You come down below that, to the top of this tree here. Two types of texture in that piece of the cave. Breccia at the base, flowstone towards the top of that cave. Trying to get a nice crystal. Too soft. Well, you tell me. Why is there? What's different about a breccia accumulation and a flowstone? I mean, a breccia is block tumbling into a hole, right? And then you've got soil washing down to form a flowstone. You've stopped the breccia process, and now you've just got sheets of water washing down over the surface. So there's a cement plant behind us. This is the area which they built Bangkok from. Okay, all the concrete building modern Bangkok. comes from the Lockburry, Saraburi. The most of it comes from the Lockburry, Saraburi area. So that's why there are so many abandoned quarries up here. Bangkok's been built with the concrete, the cement. To make cement, just for a matter of interest, you need limestone, not dolomite. You have to have a limestone which is more than 95% pure, calcium oxide. So to make a limestone, you can't have a lot of magnesium in the mix, which once again is telling you these are not dolomitized units. These are limestones, calcite limestones. Okay? I'm not going to tell you what's behind me. Apart from there are some red beds, some green beds, and some limestone beds. A lot of work for the next 10-15 minutes in this area through here, and then we'll walk up the other side a bit later. But I want you to focus on sort of where this deeply inclined beds are. And something else to notice, well, you sort of, that's why I showed it to you before, but that thrust sheet is a little bit over the top of that ridge, okay? But it's quite clear that the bedding orientation here is very different to that sloping bedding we could see in the limestone, okay? We're quite different orientation here. This is almost subvertical, very steeply inclined here. When we go over there, we'll also see it's folded, but here it's quite steeply inclined. It's a very different structural style to what we saw in the sheet of lower permanent limestone, which is thrust over the top of this area here. Okay, so next 10-15 minutes, start round by that tree and work our way around the corner somewhere near that block of rock over there and figure out what's here. Faculty, you're going to say nothing once again, okay? You should have now know your carbonate and what you've seen on this field trip to recognise something similar to this. You've seen already. Sometimes it's better to look at the wall like We're not answering for 20 minutes. Your acid bottle will be useful here.
Marble.
Not saying anything. No comment, no question. Dr. Tasney and I not saying anything, Dr. Tasney. So you're answering a question. Oh, you better all gather around. That's what to say. No, you're not supposed to say anything for another 10 minutes yet. Then we'll talk about it. You look first. Don't ask the professor the question first.
I think for my one it is a classic. It's like a classic, not classic. Deposit like a not carbonate. Sand, silt, clay, something like this. But this one is not
You can look
red
at
color. It
the grain
maybe
size.
oxidized. Red color is
No.
not igneous.
No.
No.
Oh, I shouldn't say it.
Oh, it's very good. No. If you look in the mineral composition. So igneous have the variety.
That's got layering in it.
ลิกิด
Yeah.
ลิกิด
Liquid what? No, no.
Yeah, it's quite gritty. But it's not got crystals. It's not ink. It's got no crystal structure in it.
เวทีไฟ
ดีนัดอันเตอร์ไรเอ็กซ์ตี้วันไอ้สติ๊กต้องติ๊กอินมีเสมอเกมหมัด
Maybe
โซน
because the iron. The green is Fe2.
PO2
Why is this a different pattern? This one, this one, this one, this one. It's like layering. So what is it?
เวทีไฟแซน
อันนี้มันโดนไปที่ไม่ที่ก็ได้ที่จะมาเป็นสกิลของอ้อยแหละของอ้อยอ้อยจะขึ้นมาถ่ายตรงนี้ วางไม่ได้อ่ะต้องวางอะไรนี่ที่ถ่ายเยอะแบบเรื่องจะเรื่องจะถ่ายรูปป่ะจะถ่ายป่ะเดี๋ยวพี่เป็นสเกลให้
Lunchtime. So let's gather. I want to show you the geology over here first, then we'll move that way. Photograph. Okay, so what have we got here? What are the two main rock types? Limestone, yeah, and siltstone, yeah, something finer grained, okay, and siliciclastic. In the siliciclastic, we've got a green-coloured bed and a red-coloured bed. Why is that? Oxidation. Okay, the red bed is oxidized. It's ferrous. It's the Fe3 plus form, the ferrous form of limestone. The green bed is the ferric form of limestone, the reduced form. Oh, sorry, not limestone, of iron, Fe, not limestone. This is ferric, the green, and the other one is ferrous. Okay, Ferric for the green one, form of iron, and then for the red one, it's the ferrous, the oxidized form of Fe. Now, that is not depositionally significant. Okay, some people used to say, many people still say, red beds form because they formed in arid desert environments. Green beds formed in more humid producing environments. Nothing to do with deposition. It's all about what is the groundwater condition in the phylogenetic realm when these beds come back up to the surface. And you'll see if you go around with some of the beds, some of these beds are partially green and partially red. Look at that fracture running down through the green bed above Rosie's shoulder coming across the bed there. It's quite red. That's because the groundwater is moving in that fracture, changed from the ferric to the ferrous form of iron in the adjacent sediment. Okay, so it's the colour's got nothing to do with depositional conditions. It's all to do with oxidation and reduction in the telogenetic. So this bed, this green bed and this red bed were deposited in very similar depositional conditions. And they were deposited interlayered with what? What's the limestone? What do you classify it as? Crinoidal rudstone. Yeah, very good, but none of you looked at that block over there. Okay? And if you turn around and look at this block here, it's not all rudstone. Okay, there's some blocks of quite fine-grained packstone. So this isn't like, you're all thinking crinoidal rudstone like we saw in that big hole in the ground, the quarry from a couple of days ago. We never saw something like this. It might have been there, but we couldn't see it. It was too weathered. But here you can see in this fresh block, this is a mixture of crinoidal floatstone between blocks of packstone and waxstone. So this one has some quite coarse blocks in it made up of packstone and waxstone. To make the packstone and waxstone stand up, they'll not break apart when it was transported, these blocks have to be partially cemented. These are probably upper slope, muddy sediments, reworked with the crinoids into a deeper water setting. Well, I've already given you what I think the interpretation is here. Okay, I think that these beds here and the carbonates are similar to what we saw in the crinoidal rudstone that we went to that big quarry, the big hole in the ground, the abandoned quarry 2 days ago. Okay, what was it, 6? Okay, the big crinoidal floatstone interlayered with plastics. Same type of sediment here, except some of these beds are, like the ones you were looking at, are crinoidal rudstone. This one probably comes from over there somewhere. There's blocks of mud caught up in the matrix of crinoidal rudstone as well. But it still fits the idea of a deeper water deposit. And this fits when we looked at all the middle Permian. The only lower Permian we've seen is what we saw this morning. Okay? All the middle Permian in the deep water look like this. Interlayered crinoidal rudstones with plastics. And when we stopped in that quarry a couple of days ago, there was a hell of a lot more plastic than there was crinoidal rudstone. Okay, but it was thick beds. And you can see the same thing here. We're seeing beds of crinoidal rudstone, and then when you got your eye in, you start to see, okay, there's a fairly thick bed of crinoidal rudstone with maybe a more breccia or conglomeratic base. But there, we've got a plastic bed, back into another crinoidal rudstone bed, back into a plastic bed, back into a crinoidal rudstone, back into a plastic bed. Okay, so who saw the climbing ripples? What, you saw the climbing ripples, right? Which way's up from your climbing ripples? That way, or that way? Is it overturned or is it right side up, do you think? Okay, yeah, that way. Okay, if other people have seen them as well. Yeah, that way's up. Okay, so we've got the thicker limestone beds at the base, and as we go through the cycle on the superfan load, we're getting more plastic, less thick limestone beds. So this is typical mid-fan load type deposition. This we could all say is getting more proximal with these big blocks of debris in it. Maybe it's a bit more proximal than the cleaner crinoidal limestone and soapstone. So, we've seen something similar to this in that big hole in the ground we visited a couple of days ago. Similar sort of setting, relatively deep water. We've got climbing ripples, Balmer C, BC type cycles in the plastics. Once again, we're on a coupled margin, okay, where we've got plastic mixing in with crinoid debris. We know that we've had some richness input, maybe during times of low sea level, and the carbonate changes are turned on, and the crinoids are happily growing on the upper slope when we turned on our carbonate tank. Okay, these beds, also very important observation, are dipping like this, okay, quite steeply dipping 60, 70 degrees like this. And you say, well, oh, that's interesting. Maybe they're the same as the dips we saw. They're not. If you measure the dips on this, it's a totally different direction to the steep dipping beds we saw in the lower Permian. And the upper part of this cliff behind that ridge there, we could see it when we first stopped and I pointed it out to you, that is the lower Permian. And then that was a different style to this. Okay, it was pure carbonate platform. You didn't see it because we couldn't do thin sections. And in some of those cavities, there's barite, barium sulfate. It's the very last crystal phase in the mesogenetic cavity field in that previous core. I don't know whether that's characteristic of the lower Permian or not. Certainly barium sulfate forming cements in the late stages of mesogenetic. Okay, so you're all happy that this is dipping like this? Follow those beds up the hill, dipping like that, okay? We're now going to walk to the other side of the move towards where Dr. Tassin went. We won't go as far as she went, but up towards the other side of the corridor. Look up the hill again for those